people. I am your host, Lexi Inks, and welcome to Lex Be Real, a sex and dating podcast all about the 3 R's, real, relatable relationships. Hey, y'all. I'm so excited to be back chatting with you guys again this week. For this episode, I am flying solo, but fear not, I have literally 7 interviews coming up with some incredible experts. You guys are going to freak out over the next month or so. So just be on the lookout for those episodes because they are going to be incredible. We're going to be talking about some really fun, exciting, juicy topics. So I'm so excited to continue building on this show. And I'm so grateful that you guys are listening. Thank you so much for all of the feedback that you've sent so far. Everyone has been so amazing and encouraging and helpful. And yeah, so I'm just super lucky that you guys are enjoying the show so far. And of course, I would be remiss to not thank Dr. Viviana Coles for last week's episode. She is such an eloquent speaker and just an incredible expert, seriously just one of the top in her field. And I am just so grateful and so lucky that she took the time to chat with me last week for the interview. So thank you, Dr. Coles. That was incredible. And everyone, please subscribe to the show on your preferred streaming platform, give it a rating, and be sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at Lex Be Real Podcast for updates and new information. All right, so diving in, I know last week at the beginning of the episode, I gave you guys an update about my mental health situation. And I just wanted to give you an update on the update. So for those who missed last week's episode, I have been in just a really, really deep depressive episode over the past month and a half, maybe. And I have bipolar 2 disorder. So this just happens from time to time, but it hasn't really occurred in the past 2 or 3 years since I've been on the specific medications that I'm on now. And unfortunately, sometimes our bodies just build up a tolerance to medications and they don't work as effectively over time. So that's kind of what it seems like happened with me. And so I had to see my psychiatrist earlier this week and she adjusted some things. And I've been on the new medicine schedule now for a few days. And of course, I know that a few days is not going to make a massive difference, but I think even if it's just placebo effect or just in my brain, knowing that this is temporary and knowing that I took the steps that I needed to get better and to remedy this situation and to take care and charge of my mental health, I think that's just making me feel so much more optimistic about it. And I already am starting to feel better. I'm starting to have more energy, just knowing that this is going to be over soon. So for everyone who reached out and who has just been so lovely talking about, how grateful they are that I'm so transparent about my mental health, thank you guys. That really means a lot. And again, my DMs and my messages are always open if anyone needs support or guidance or just a listening ear when it comes to mental health and mental illness. The more we talk about it, the less the stigma has power. So let's chat about that anytime. You guys can reach out. Okay, so like I said, I'm flying solo today. So I thought that while I was kind of ruminating over what topics I wanted to talk about, I figured that one of the easiest and one of the ones that is most relevant and applicable to me, of course, is, the world of sex and dating when you're living in a bigger body. And what I mean by that is when you're plus size, when you're fat, when you're overweight, chubby, whatever word you identify with, if you are living and existing in a bigger body, this episode will definitely have some, I think, good insight and just some reminders for you about, living as a person in a plus size body and how that impacts sex and dating. So for those who don't know, being in a bigger body like myself, I am a fat woman and I identify as fat. And I know some people don't like that word and that's fine. But I use that as a term to take that back and empower myself. And I don't consider that an insult when I call myself fat, because fat doesn't mean ugly. And so being in a bigger body like I am, being a fat woman, definitely brings along some unique challenges when it comes to life in general, like existing in that body. But it's definitely amplified when you start adding sex and dating into the mix. The shame and the stigma that we experience as people who are plus size, it really oftentimes keeps us from feeling comfortable and feeling confident in ourselves and in our bodies, and especially putting ourselves out there, like on the dating apps, going out to bars and trying to meet new people, going to singles events, mixers, things like that. It's tough. It's challenging to feel confident enough in a world that tells us that we're not enough, in a world that tells us that our bodies are wrong or ugly or unhealthy or whatever it may be. Fat phobia is rampant in Western society, especially in America. And so, we deal with a lot of that just in our day-to-day. But then when you talk about sex and dating, which involves a lot of putting your best foot forward, putting yourself out there, introducing yourself to the world, that makes it more complicated. And so especially with, online dating being the necessary evil that it is, when you're on dating apps, which is how the majority of people meet now, they definitely don't help plus size people to feel attractive, to feel desirable, or even like sometimes safe. I know plenty of men and women who are also, fat or plus size, and they have gotten some of just the nastiest messages or just worst reactions from other people on those apps regarding their bodies and regarding their size. And obviously that's so fucked up and it's not right, but it happens more than people who don't have that experience might think. It really happens a lot. It's very common. And so again, that just goes back to that shame and stigma about existing in a bigger body. So again, like it's hard to get on Tinder and scroll through and be like, oh, I'm attractive. Like I'll try to match with these people. I'll swipe right because, they'll probably match with me because they'll think I'm hot. It's really hard to have that perspective when society tells you that you're hideous, essentially, and that you're wrong or you're lazy or whatever, stigmatized stereotypes there may be. So even if someone does express interest in a plus size person, whether they're on the dating apps or in real life, there's also this behavior, and I've definitely not experienced this myself, but I know plenty of, plus size people who have, that even if they do express interest in a plus size person, if that plus size person rejects them, or if the plus size person doesn't respond favorably, especially in a sexual situation, like a lot of times someone who is fat phobic, but they still want to like have sex with a fat person or something, they'll, send like a message and come on to them or whatever in real life or on the apps. And if that plus size person rejects them or doesn't respond the way that they want them to, they'll be like, oh, well, you're fat anyway. Or yeah, or you're ugly anyway. I would never date you. And it's like, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the experience. It doesn't make sense. And it's so hurtful. And so those are just some of the things that we deal with, in addition to like, we get less matches because, we're not in a normal standard size body. And the apps really put this emphasis and this focus on making split-second decisions based on physical appearance, which obviously it is okay to have preferences completely. There's nothing wrong with having preferences. If you are an extremely fit person, if you're like a gym girly or whatever, or bro, and you really want your partner to hold themselves to, that kind of standard of health and wellness, I think there's nothing wrong with that personally. I am on a health journey myself. I've been working out in the gym like every day for the past like 2 months or so. I've been eating a lot differently, and I've been really trying to focus and work on my well-being and my physical health. So I understand that perspective 100%. But I think that there's still no denying that, regardless of, you can say, oh, that's just preference, it's preference. There's no denying that fat phobia has a lot to do with that kind of preference. And with the conscious and even subconscious choices that people make when they're swiping on dating apps or when they're meeting people in person and flirting and talking and, whatever it may be. So I think that we just face a lot of adversity and a lot of like pushback when it comes to the dating world. And so I think that that's something to acknowledge. And I think that that's something we need to continue having discourse about and talk about, because again, like anything else, I mean, the more we talk about it, the less of an issue it will be, and the less stigmatized and the less shameful being fat will be. And so there are a lot of different lessons that I've learned over the years with, confidence as a fat person and sex as a fat person, dating as a fat person. So, some of my perspectives and stuff have changed over the years because my body has changed over the years. I haven't always been at this size. I haven't always been fat to this extent. And so my experiences and like the ways that, especially men, because I primarily date men, the ways that they respond to me have obviously changed over the years, and respond to someone in my size and my body and who looks like me. From my perspective, especially as a 30-year-old, there are a lot of things that, you might want to do if you are a plus size person dating. So one of the biggest things I've learned is that you really need to make sure that your dating profile is accurate. And as sad as it is to say, if you do, just put selfies up, or if you put group pictures where you're hidden, or if you put like, some people do like memes on like Tinder or Bumble instead of actual pictures of themselves, then that's not really showing your true self. And you're kind of more at risk of like getting that pushback and getting that kind of attitude and the fat phobia because you're not really representing yourself. So my biggest tip for sure, if you're on the dating apps, is make sure your profile is accurate, it's up to date, the pictures are recent, they're totally representative of like what you look like in person, not just like those angles where you're like, oh, I look so skinny here. I would just put like the best pictures you can find that really show what your body looks like. And unfortunately, again, I wish that we didn't really have to do that, but it is kind of the way it is. And if you want to keep yourself safe from that harmful, pushback and the harmful like backlash of someone getting mad that you catfished them or whatever, I would just, put the most accurate pictures you can, and definitely ones that show your personality. I would say like, when you're wearing cute outfits, or when you're out with your friends doing fun activities, or, if you travel, if you love reading, if you are super athletic or you're outdoorsy, like put pictures that show more than just your body, because again, you are so much more than your body. And so put pictures that really show your personality. And in the same way, do that in your bio too. I've also even seen men and women note in their bio that they are fat or plus size, even though usually their pictures also represent that. They just kind of like make a note about it or mention it, or even sometimes like will make a funny joke about it. Only if you feel comfortable, obviously. I personally don't do that, but I think it's great when people do, because I think it's upfront and it's honest. And I think acknowledging it again just really makes people feel more comfortable a lot of times. And so it kind of shows that they're self-aware and that they know, and that they're not trying to like mislead anybody. Above all, though, when you're using dating apps as a plus size person, really try not to give mean messages if you get them, or bios that are cruel toward fat people. Some people will write like no fatties, or if you're overweight or if you weigh over this much, like, swipe left, which again is terrible, and it just speaks to the fat phobia in our society as a whole. But don't give those messages or those bios or those people a second thought. There are so many people out there who will seriously think you are hot AF no matter what size you are. I promise you, coming from someone who is in a fat body and who has been for many years and who has dated a lot in this body, I promise you there are people who will find you attractive and who will not even give it a second thought, your size. And so when it comes to actually going on dates, I think this is one of the things that I've had to learn the hard way over some years. Luckily, I've never been in a situation where I've been like considered a catfish or kind of called out for that, because again, I really try to make sure that my profile is very accurate and looks like me. But when you're getting ready for a date, especially if you're feeling nervous, and of course, all of us from one time or another have thought about, oh, what if they think I'm too fat, or oh, what if they don't like me, or oh, what if it just doesn't work out because of my size, blah, blah, blah. I would say don't worry about wearing something flattering on a first date, which I don't really even like that word to begin with, because why do we have to wear something that's flattering? Like, why can't we just wear what we want? But I digress. So don't worry about wearing something that makes you look smaller or makes you look the most attractive or makes your body, sucks you in. You don't have to wear like head to toe shapewear on a date just because you're a plus size woman. Like, trust me, it's okay. I think the most important thing is that you're comfortable and that you feel like you feel like you look cute. Make sure that you feel comfortable and that you feel like you look cute. It doesn't matter if they think you look cute or if they think, one of your rolls is showing in your shirt or whatever it may be. And I've also heard of people in plus size bodies who were too afraid to like order something if they were eating. If you're like going out for dinner or even like tapas or whatever, order what you want. I've definitely heard so many stories of like fat women who were too scared to eat what they actually wanted to eat on a dinner date. So they order like a salad and they eat like half of it, and then they leave like hungry, and they leave feeling that shame, I feel like, and that kind of self-hatred, even if it's a good date, because they felt like they had to do that for the other person so that they wouldn't be seen as like gross or anything for what they ordered. And that makes me so sad, because I understand the feeling behind it. I completely do. But that's the shame that we kind of have to work on internally. And so when you are going out on like a dinner date, especially for a first date, and you're worried about like what you're ordering, don't worry about that. Just trust me. Just order whatever you want, eat whatever you want. I mean, I'm sure many of you have seen on TikTok or on Twitter, like the one woman the other day who posted that she ordered 48 fucking oysters on a date and an entree and drinks. Like, and she's not even fat. She was like this skinny woman, but she slurped down 48 oysters as an appetizer and then proceeded to order multiple drinks and an entree. Like, if you are a fat person and you're like worried about how you look eating on a date, if she can order 48 oysters to start with, you're allowed to get a goddamn burger if that's what you want. Like, you can eat a hamburger, you're not going to die, and I promise the other person is not going to think you're disgusting. I think this goes for anyone, but really the most important thing on a first date or any date in general is to get out of your own head. You really can't focus on whether or not the other person likes you or what they think of you or if they think you're attractive. The main focus for dating should be what you think about them, about you finding your ideal partner, not necessarily just, oh, am I going to be the partner that they want? Am I going to be the person that they're looking for, the person they want to sleep with, or the person, they could see themselves marrying one day? Make sure you like them. That's the most important thing, because the last thing you want is to end up with someone who you end up realizing is not a match for you. But you were so caught up and consumed at the beginning with making them like you that at the end you end up dissatisfied and unhappy. And I'm just, I know I'm preaching to the choir, and I know, trust me, I have had that experience myself. I have definitely been guilty of focusing way more on the impression that I'm making versus the impression that they're making on me. But I think over the years of becoming more comfortable with myself, my self-love journey, and becoming comfortable with my body and accepting all that I am and how I present myself, I think that perspective has definitely changed. And now dating is primarily about me and what I want. And that has taken a lot of time and a lot of therapy and a lot of internal work, obviously. But I promise you that that's all worth it. Okay, now if you are one of my family members and you're listening to this, thank you for listening this far. I'm so grateful for you. But go ahead and turn off the episode now because we're going to talk about sex, baby. So bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. Bye, everybody. All right. So when you are approaching sex as a person in a plus size body, there are just some things to consider. And especially if you are still on your own kind of body acceptance, body neutrality, self-love journey, whatever you want to call it, you have to get comfortable seeing yourself naked in order to feel comfortable letting someone else see you naked. Let me repeat that. You have to get comfortable seeing yourself naked in order to feel comfortable letting someone else see you naked. The moment you learn to accept what you see in the mirror is the moment that it stops having power over your life. And that power is so strong when we give into fat phobia and when we give into people's perceptions of us and when we worry too much about, oh, well, they think I'm too big. You don't have to absolutely love your body in order to love yourself. That's where body neutrality comes in. Again, it's just about acceptance and it's just about seeing what you look like and not being upset by it. I mean, that's totally okay too. If you never get to that place of body positivity and loving your body for what it is, that's okay. You don't have to. And I think that body positivity can be great, but I don't think it's for everyone. So you don't have to absolutely love your body in order to love yourself, because your body isn't the only thing that makes you you. It's not the most important thing about you. And I know, I'm sure most of you have heard that saying, your body is the least interesting thing about you, but it's true. It really is true. Like when you think about your friends, when you think about family, when you think about someone you might be dating, the first thing you think about probably isn't their body. It's the way that they laugh. It's how, smart they are. It's how they love and are so passionate about their interests and hobbies, or how successful they've been in their career, or what a great parent they are, or daughter, or whatever it may be. So our bodies are not the most important thing about us at all. Now, that being said, in order to have a fulfilling sex life as a plus size person, you kind of have to, like I said, get comfortable in that body and get comfortable feeling yourself naked, seeing yourself naked, being naked, and kind of being able to show that to somebody else and share that experience with somebody else. So some of the best ways that I've found that have really, really made such a difference in the acceptance that I found of my body and the way that I appreciate it is, first of all, take nudes. I would say taking nudes is one of the best ways that you can, document and record the moments when you feel sexy and when you feel powerful. And taking nudes and having like really quality nudes of yourself and ones that you really feel proud of and you really like makes a world of difference. I promise you that if you start taking nudes, or even what I call lewds, which are like, you're not fully naked, you are going to feel so empowered. You are going to feel powerful. You are going to feel sexy. You're going to feel like just incredible in your body. And I think it's really going to start helping you to appreciate what you have and how you look and, the ways in which that makes you special and that makes you you. So one of the ways that I started doing this was finding lingerie that I felt really good in and that I really enjoyed wearing, that was comfortable, but that I really thought was like sexy and was really, I just have like a mix of them. And also you can even find affordable lingerie that is also plus size. You can find it on, obviously I shouldn't be recommending this, but Amazon, not the best place. So if you can support a local or small business, that would be great. But for my budget at the time, I definitely looked on Amazon and found some really great options. But there are so many other places out there, Savage X Fenty, and I know a lot of other websites I can't think of off the top of my head, but they have plenty of options for bigger bodies. And they're super hot too. So definitely finding lingerie that you feel good in. Take lewds or nudes with them. Like, you can put on a teddy that fully covers up all your bits, and you can still take the hottest pictures that you can either keep for yourself and just enjoy, or send to a partner or send to someone you're dating later on if you feel comfortable, like, for real. Or even on dates or in the bedroom, like, you can, enjoy and use that lingerie time and time again, and it's just gonna help make you feel better, make you feel really good, make you feel attractive, make you feel powerful. And I would say even on dates, even if you know that you're not going to sleep with this person, I would wear some kind of lingerie under your outfit if you can make it work. Like, that's one of the ways that it's like this little secret that you have that only you know, that you're like, ooh, I look so good and I look so sexy under these clothes, but you're not even going to know. I think that that's like one really, really great way that people in larger bodies can just start to spark that love and that appreciation for themselves and for how they look. And of course, in terms of the sexual aspect of it, self-pleasure is seriously one of the best ways that you can get in touch with your body. Pun intended, definitely pun intended, in touch with your body, and just really embrace yourself as like a sexual being, which, when I say self-pleasure, I mean masturbation. We can say it, it's not a dirty word. Mom, I hope you're not listening to this, but masturbating is seriously such an incredible way to connect with yourself sexually, to connect with yourself physically, spiritually, mentally, all of the things, because you can make it an experience. You can make it like solo sex. Like, masturbation is sex. It's a form of sex. It's just by yourself. You don't need a partner to experience pleasure. You don't need to have anyone else or anything else really to feel good and and safe and sexy in your body. And I think that, getting a really good toy, like finding a really good vibrator, makes all the difference in, how you feel about yourself and your sexuality. And pleasure is so powerful. Like, pleasure is such an incredible thing to feel. And I think that when you allow yourself to start feeling that, especially if you are a plus size person, you give yourself permission to truly just feel pleasure. There's so much power in that, and there's so much healing in that. And I think it's just such an incredible thing. And I think that's one of my biggest tips of advice is, seriously, go masturbate. And then also, speaking of toys, don't be afraid to bring them into the bedroom. Like, if you are having sex with a partner, as someone with a bigger body, there are going to be some things, especially if your body is bigger, there are some things that you may not be able to do. Some positions, some techniques, some angles that you might just not be able to do, or they might not feel super comfortable during sex, that other people can do, or that you might want to try. So I would definitely recommend bringing a vibrator or a wand or, some kind of plug or anything, any kind of toy or tool that you want to use that during sex that would help you or help your partner and just maximize the things that you can do. I think that's going to just enhance your pleasure, enhance your comfort, enhance your confidence, and really just make it a better experience all around. So definitely I would highly recommend bringing toys into the bedroom. And for women who have sex with men, if you are with a man who has a problem with you masturbating with toys, or has a problem with you trying to bring toys into the bedroom, dump him. Dump him. That's all I'm going to say. If your man has a problem with you using toys, break up with him. That's trash. But yeah, so it's toys, and the same thing with like props and like pillows and sheets and blankets. Like, bring whatever you need to help you feel confident, powerful, and help the experience to feel better and to feel more pleasurable. So like a lot of times in my experience and with the experts that I've talked to about sex in a bigger body, try using pillows, try using a big blanket or a sheet to put under your hips or like under your partner's hips in various positions. That kind of angle and that like propped up angle can help you get leverage, can help make things more comfortable, can help make certain positions more effective. You get the gist. Like, just kind of get creative and imaginative with the ways that you can use objects around you, especially like in the bedroom. Not even just toys, but like get creative. There are so many different things, including sensory objects. Like if you were into wax play, or if you're into like heat sensations, or if you're into like texture sensations or taste or smells, like use your senses, really make it an all around, like well-rounded, exciting, pleasurable experience. Whatever you feel like you need to enhance that pleasure and make that experience with your partner that much better, do it. Speak up about it. Like, speak your needs, tell them what you're thinking, make sure everyone's consenting. But I think there shouldn't be any problem with you using those extra little tools just to give you a hand and help make it a better experience and more comfortable for everyone. Also, in terms of those positions that, are a little bit easier, I would say doggy. Don't hate on doggy. I know some people doggy gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's a great position for anyone, I think, as long as you can do it mobility-wise. Because the focus, for me at least, like I get kind of self-conscious sometimes about like the front of my body and like my belly and stuff. So that's why, I like doggy, because then the focus is not on my belly and how it's hanging down. The focus is on other parts of my body. And it just makes me feel like, stronger and more powerful, while still giving me a very comfortable way to feel sexy and a comfortable way to experience pleasure, without feeling like, oh no, I'm jiggling too much, or oh no, this roll is too visible, or whatever. And getting on top, of course, I did have some questions about that recently. Getting on top of your partner, especially if you're, engaging in penetrative sex, it can be more difficult for sure in a bigger body, but there are ways to do it without pain or without working too hard. I did write an article for Bustle about that I'm going to plug. It's about getting on top when you're plus size. So I can link that in the description below. It has some really, really great expert advice from a couple of sex experts. And they talk about, products and angles and techniques and ways that, bigger people and bigger bodies can make getting on top like really fun and exciting and easy. And so there are definitely some of those ways to do it without pain or without like getting winded and working too hard. You don't have to have Megan knees to get on top. There are so many different ways to modify that can be pleasurable for you and your partner. So I'll definitely link that article below. But in another episode coming up, we can get way more into that, because I do have a related interview coming up that I'm so excited about. And honestly, overall, in the bedroom, like, especially if you're plus size, don't beat yourself up if you are not capable of doing and trying every position during sex. Like, you don't have to do like pretzel position in order to feel like incredible. You don't have to like do like tantra to feel sexy and to make it a good experience. It's seriously about the experience for both of you. It's not just about putting on a show and trying to just please your partner. It's about both of you, and it's about like the shared energy and the shared experience. And feeling sexy isn't just about your body, and neither is self-love. Both I consider to be a state of mind. So we all have to start learning that our worth and that our magnetism, I don't even want to say attractiveness, because that really has to do with more the physical aspect. I would say that our worth and our magnetism, what draws people to us, it doesn't center around our bodies and how we look. It's the energy we put off. It's the way we smile. It's our laugh. It's the way we treat others and the way we carry ourselves. And I think that over the years, I have definitely learned to carry myself with more confidence because I've become accepting of my body and I've become accepting of who I am, and I'm sure of that person and I love that person. And that has helped me so much to carry myself with confidence. And I think that's why I've had more success than I would have expected in my sex and dating life, and had better experiences, I think, than I could have, because I carry myself so well. And that's something that I think a lot of partners in the past have told me, is that I am so confident and that I come across as very confident and very self-assured. And that's something I'm really proud of, because it wasn't overnight. It wasn't just natural to me. That never came naturally to me. It was always a work in progress and a journey. And that's the biggest thing I want to hone in on and drive home, is that confidence is a journey, especially when you're in a bigger body. It takes time. Confidence is a journey, and I am taking that journey right along with you. On that note, thank you guys so much for listening. I really hope that this episode was helpful for some of you. I know many of you can relate to my experiences and my struggles, and I hope that this made you feel empowered, and this made you feel less alone, and it made you feel like you can have such a happy and joyous and pleasurable sex and dating life, because you can. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the show on every streaming platform that you use. Please leave a rating on the podcast, and follow the show on Instagram at Lex Be Real Podcast. And if you want to follow me, that's fine. You can follow me at Lexi Inks on Instagram, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.